kind of an interesting example of somebody going mainstream and then deciding to go back to underground or mid underground. He's pretty famous still, but anyway, great album, KRS One. Last album that you maybe haven't heard of. Unfortunately, one of the ways I got into rap was, yes, as a white guy, through Eminem. I used to listen to a lot of Eminem in high school. I can't stand Eminem now. I don't know why. I used to think the guy was good. People like him, whatever. I kind of hate his guts, to be honest. His stuff is super misogynistic, super drug glamorizing. He's basically doing the opposite of what all these other albums I'm showing you today, for the most part, are trying to do, which is community uplift, anti-drug message, living healthier lifestyle, but still bringing it hard, talking about social issues and stuff. Eminem comes in, he gets tons of exposure for being white. The industry gets behind him 110% to co-opt rap music. He's got, he won the Grammy for like Album of the Year for Marshall Mathers LP, and did that stupid stunt with Elton John where he flipped off the audience, and it was just, Eminem's an idiot. I'm sorry, Eminem's an idiot. I hate him. He's a misogynistic, homophobic, super violent idiot, drug abusing idiot. And yeah, he's talented, right? He puts words together really well, but he's an idiot. And that's how I feel. However, the reason I bring all this up, before he sold his soul to the devil, by the way, I have a friend who told me, if you hear that song, My Name Is, hi, my name is, what? My name is, oh, chicka chicka slim shady. My friend told me, I think it's hilarious, he said that's the sound of his soul dying from selling out. It's the sound of his soul dying. But before he sold out, he made one of the greatest albums in all of hip-hop. Hate to say it, before he sold out to the devil, in 1996, he dropped this masterpiece, Infinite. Infinite. Really, it's not even him. There's a love song to Kim on this album. This is like super amazing underground Detroit hip hop. I wish there was a million. I wish he made 10 albums like this. I would buy every single one. This album, it speaks volumes to what the world was like back then. Did not sell hardly at all. Supposedly only 500 copies were sold, and he was living in his car, homeless, and basically sold his soul to like pay rent and stuff, which is really sad. He came out with the Slim Shady EP after this, which was when he developed the persona of Slim Shady, who is the murderous, rapist, psychopath that he likes to glorify. And then that sold really well. And so we've been stuck with that nonsense ever since. But before he did that, he made this album, which is all about like just really grimy, really raw, but not trying to pretend to be something he's not. He's not developing this fake persona. It's him talking about his everyday life. And I'll say I know almost every lyric on this album. It's a road day, but everything is okay. I'm up all night, but everything is alright. It's a rough week and I don't get enough sleep. It's a long year pretending I belong here. One day I plan to be a family man, happily married. I want to grow to be so old that I have to be carried till I'm glad to be buried and leave this crazy world and have at least $500,000 for my baby girl. It may be early to be planning this stuff because I'm still struggling hard to be the man and it's tough because man it's been rough. I've been taken advantage of, damaged and scuffed. My hands have been cuffed, but I don't plan to give up when this shit hits the fan and erupts. Life is stressful inside a cesspool. Trying to wrestle, I almost bust a blood vessel. My little brother's asthmatic, the track static. Kids taking target practice on teens for starter jackets. I'm using smarter tactics to overcome the slums. I won't become as dumb as some and succumb to scum. It's cumbersome. I'm trying to do well on this earth, but it's been hell on this earth since I fell on this earth. It's a road day, but everything is okay. I'm up all night, but everything is alright. It's a rough week and I don't get enough sleep. It's a long year pretending I belong here. Man. You find me a blues-themed kind of rap song that can top that, hats off. I never heard anything that can top that for that kind of style. so sad, man. So sad that he went the other route. Because this album is really, really something special. And what else we got in here? Tonight, 313, Wago, Maxine. I mean, good stuff on here. A lot of memories. Never Too Far is all about how he's dreaming of making it someday. It's him waiting for the bus with his homies. Was it like Proof and some of the other folks that he was with the 313 crew that later became Dirty Dozen, who I also have no respect for. And they're misogynistic, super violent, drug abusing, stupid shit. But back in the day, they were making this, and it was pretty cool. Maybe the 313 crew was different and cooler. I don't know. In any case, if you find a copy of this, an original on vinyl, it's like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. This is a repress that they made during the height of Eminem's popularity in early 00s when I was a fan. It's made in England, but it's still pretty sought after. It's probably like a $75 record. It sounds really good. One thing you should know if you're a big fan of Infinite is that all of the bootlegs, from what I understand, have the tempo sped up. This was probably from the CD made from a master from the bootleg CD or the bootleg tape. And it wasn't until maybe 10 years ago, I want to say like 2010s, I'm guessing, that people started to get the official albums and correcting that and posting rips of the actual $1,000 vinyl. Because that's how much his original, I think, goes for nowadays. Great album, absolute classic masterpiece. Had to be mentioned, even though there's all that other stuff I don't like. That album, fantastic. Infinite. I'm infinite. You heard of hell when I was sent from it. I went to it carrying a sentence for murdering instruments. I mean, damn, dude. Good album. So, and then last couple ones you're gonna know for sure. I'd be shocked if you didn't. If you like hip hop and you're watching this video, The Score by Fugees. What can be said? Lauryn Hill, I think Prada said, is the nucleus of the Fugees. You have to agree. She's a dynamite powerhouse talent. Boy, there's a lot I could say about the Fugees. A lot of people regard this as the greatest rap record of all time. Do I agree? No. Everything else I've shown you before is probably better. Is it a classic? Yes. Is it fantastic? Yes. Do you have to listen to it? Yes. And different strokes for different folks. Some people might still like this the best. This is the final hurrah. It is the final call for old school 80s conscious boom bap style hip hop. This is the last big splash that it made. This was like 94, something like that, 95. No, wait, is it 90? No, I'm sorry. I want to say it's actually 96. 96. This was the last hurrah for what I would say is real hip hop. In the sea of all the gangster crap, this was the last one that kind of made it mainstream, made a big hit, and then the industry nonsense devoured everything else pretty much in the mainstream. So it really deserves a place in history for that, if nothing else. It does a lot of really creative production. Zealots is my go-to on this. Zealots, fantastic song. Lauryn Hill's vocals, unmatched on this. Absolutely the best. The production, I think, on this is better, and the consciousness is in many ways better than Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. I think is a fantastic album, but Lauryn Hill has a massive ego. And it's like when she was with the Fugees, that ego was contained a little bit, or maybe she just hadn't blown up as much. By the time she goes solo, it's just her ego is just everywhere. Now, granted, I will say, and I know this is super important, if you're a black girl, black woman growing up in America, Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is like a Bible. It's like there was nothing like that where black women had a platform and could speak to their struggles and issues and relationships and all, and that stuff is priceless. I mean, that's super, super important. So as a white dude, there's so many layers and levels to Lauryn Hill that I will never understand, that she speaks to and has a platform for black women and women of color that's super important and fantastic. So, my criticisms of her are just kind of like as an artist and kind of the ego thing, which is a little off-putting because I think it hurts the music. Anytime your ego gets too much into the music, your music, it loses it loses it. You know, it loses that connection with the audience. So I just say that as sort of an, you know, slight criticism, but she's a hell of a talent. I love what she did with the Fugees because I think she had more of a revolutionary vibe, and more it fits more with the hip hop balance. And when she did Miseducation and her later stuff, the vocals are layered so many times over. It's a bit much. I'm not a fan of the mixing as much. But anyway, I think she really shines on this album and the one before, for blanking on the title. They only did 2 albums, I think, 2 full albums with the Fugees before she went solo. By the way, it's worth noting, the reason she went solo is these 2 guys in her crew did not treat her right, from what I understand. She was very young when she joined the crew. She was like 18. The story goes, I forget which person, but they promised her parents, like, we'll take good care of her, we'll make sure she's safe when she goes, you know, into this music industry thing. But one of them ends up dating her. And I forget which, I'm blanking on names today, but she ends up having a relationship with one of her bandmates, totally freaking inappropriate. He was way older than her, and from what I understand, if I remember correctly, and he told her mom that he was bringing her into the industry and was going to make sure she was safe and taken care of. And so instead exploits her. And I think they have a baby together or something. Anyway, she talks about some of it on Miseducation. But have to say that because I think it's important that people know that it's not her fault. She was mistreated by the industry and mistreated by her bandmates. But unnecessary background aside, or maybe necessary, depending on who you are, this is a fantastic album. It's a must-have if you're into 90s hip-hop. Must-have if you're into 90s hip-hop. Is it better than 80s hip-hop? Nope, because nothing is. But it is a really good 90s hip-hop album. And it's got some gangstery kind of vibes that I'm sure were part of the trend back then, which I could do without. But it's also got some great skits and some real classics. Oh, by the way, of course, this has the big classic everyone's heard a million times. Strumming my pain with his fingers, singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song. Right, we've all heard that song. Ugh, I'm sorry. If you love that song, cool. I've heard it too many times. Can't enjoy that song at all. But it's a good song. It's a good song. But it's hard for me to separate the 1,000,001 times I've heard that from giving it a fresh listen, you know? Anyway, that's the score. Very hyped. Rightfully so. It's a great album. I think if you're going to get something with Lauryn Hill, it's the best way to go. But again, white dude, not going to really know a lot of stuff on how she speaks to other communities. Last artist. You've heard of him. And so I'm saving him not because he's the best, but he's pretty damn good. Mr. Tupac Shakur. Mr. Tupac Shakur. All Eyes on Me, baby. This is this still the #1 selling rap album of all time? It went like a gazillion platinum. It was for many years the #1 selling rap album of all time. One of the top selling albums of all time. Double LP. It was the first at least hyped double LP hip hop album. What can I say about it? I think this was the last album he made. Last album that was released before he was shot and killed in Las Vegas. Rest in peace, Tupac. Definitely the highest production. I mean, the production quality on this is just out of this world. Out of this world good. Really out of this world hip-hop production. This Tupac, again, he's one of those, he's like Nas. I put Tupac records on when I'm having a bad day. If you're listening to Tupac records because you're enjoying life and you're having a good day, sorry man, I think you need to re-examine your life. Tupac records are nihilistic, they're self-destructive, they glorify gang violence and gang culture in a lot of ways, even though he did some anti-gang work. Pretty routinely misogynistic. The guy went to jail as a convicted sex offender. You know, not not like the most uplifting stuff, you know. That said, and that's a big caveat, the dude is super talented. He really, really speaks to the raw kind of West Coast sound. I mean, there's nobody that captures the West Coast like he does. Sorry, Snoop. Sorry, Dre. You don't even come close. You know, he is revered as somebody that really used his celebrity to speak up for disenfranchised people. He's a man of amazing contradiction because he also did, you know, love song for his mother, song about abortion with Brenda's Got a Baby. He would do these like really kind of what you might call feminist hip hop tracks. But yeah, I think obviously he went a really bad route in his career. You know, he started off with Digital Underground, and his first album, you know, was really raw and conscious. He used to be a Black Panther, which is like, what? But yeah, and then he just got really seduced by and exploited by Suge Knight, who I think's probably doing a long prison sentence right now, or will be soon, for murdering people on camera. You know, he just got involved with a really bad crowd. I'd like to think when he was, you know, with Digital Underground and stuff, things were going different. Anyway, check out Tupac Resurrection. It's a great documentary. This album, like I said, it's one of those, for me, it's like if I'm having a really, really hard time, this album really speaks to me. And it does, you know, I think we all have that, if we're honest, we all have that nihilistic, fuck it all vibe, you know, feelings that we get sometimes, right? For me, it's sometimes. I don't live there. We all have those vibes, and maybe your life really sucks and you have those vibes all the time, and maybe he'll speak to that. So cool, you know. Maybe I shouldn't say anything about that. But I feel like what I've seen in my life is like a lot of suburban white kids listening to Tupac, which is really weird to me. Like, you know, on like a sunny day like today or whatever, I'm going to listen to Tupac. It's like, why? You know, why do you want to infuse your good mood and your nice sunny day with a bunch of tracks about gang violence and suicide, basically? I mean, half his tracks are suicidal. It's like, the guy was very suicidal. Painting a picture of my enemies killing me in my sleep is a Tupac lyric, you know, like, anyway, I do feel, there are levels where I really feel for the guy, and I'm actually super mad at Digital Underground, what's his face, when he said in the documentary that he wrote him a letter in jail. Like, dude, if your homie is in jail, you go visit your homie. You do not write a letter. And so, yeah, the people that ended up showing up for him in jail were all the gangsters. So, like, yeah, that's who he ended up being friends with. I'd like to think history would have played out differently had his friends been there for him more and actually showed up and visited him when he was in jail. And easier said than done. But anyway, Tupac, very complicated, controversial person, as we already know. This, by the way, is the 2001 repress. The album came out in 96. 2001 repress. Sounds amazing. It's got this big thing on here that says it's digitally remastered, which makes you think, oh, maybe this is terrible. No. One of the best sounding hip hop albums, and it's a quad LP. It's 4 LPs. And yet somehow they managed to keep the price down because it sold so many gajillions of copies. I got this one used for like $20, something like that. But at that time you could get it new for like 25. This, I want to say it's like maybe 5 or 10 years ago. So this one's actually stayed quite affordable. Quad LP, it is kind of a must-have if you're into like the stuff I talked about. If you need a cathartic, you know, nihilistic album. And then last, it's also a very big classic. This is the album that went platinum while he was in jail. Me Against the World. Me Against the World is really a powerful song. This, I think, is his best album as far as songs that are on it. The other album is when the production, mastering, like he just had all the millions to make it sound so clean and like so produced perfectly. This is a little more, the mixing I think on this album is a little bad, frankly. But the songs are fantastic. This is where he has Dear Mama. I think arguably arguably the best line in all of rap music. All of rap music is even as a crack fiend, mama, you still wore a black queen, mama. Like, there's so much love and intensity in that line and the way he says it. It's just incredible. If I Die Tonight, I mean, damn, so many tears. A lot of, like, you can really feel, like, the loss and the sadness, the nihilism, the suicidalness. It's a dark album. Yes, it bumps. The production's amazing. It's got that West Coast sound. It reinvented what hip-hop could sound like. Super classic album. If you can get it, you should. Don't listen to it every day, man. Get some help if you do. It's a really dark album. This is the 25th anniversary 180 gram repress. Word to the wise, Tupac represses, even when they're on 180 gram vinyl, sound like crap. They sound horrible, man. This sounds like crap. I don't know who's doing the mixing and mastering of these Tupac vinyl records, but they bad. This one is pretty good, but I imagine if I had the $300, 1995 one, it would blow this out of the water. This one is okay. I spent $25 on it when it was new. I actually was going to return it. I was really upset at how lo-fi the sound was. Looking back on it now, I think part of it's probably the mixing on the masters for this were subpar. Maybe. I don't know. Never heard the original. Glad I didn't sell it. It's now worth like $50 because everyone wants this album. But yeah, word to the wise, avoid those Tupac represses. So that's it for this part of Hip Hop Memory Lane and checking out 80s vinyl. There are a couple honorable mentions. Kid Abstract, KIDABRAS, STRAKT. I'll try to put it in the link. He's a current hip hop artist. He made an album called Jazzy Vibes, which I got signed, which was not in my crate where I pulled these out of for some reason. I have to go find that. Definitely want to do that as an honorable mention and show that, maybe in a little very short add-on to this video. And I think there was one other record that I forgot that I wanted to show. But there you go, folks. That's my hip-hop collection and way too much of me talking about classic hip-hop. The 1980s stuff, Kool Moe Dee, KRS-One, Queen Latifah, Antoinette, and Quiet. Oh my god, those are gems. LL Cool J, Dougie Fresh and the Get Fresh crew. I don't have Salt and Pepper because their lyrics don't really get to me, but they have some great songs too. I mean, you can't beat that. That's golden era hip hop. There's a reason it's called the golden era. It's the best. It's the best. So hopefully that's the takeaway from this video, that you will check out some 80s hip hop if you haven't yet. There's a lot of great stuff out there. Hopefully you'll forgive me if there are some views or opinions that don't vibe with you. For me, it's hard to separate the music from the context, from the social struggles, and all that kind of stuff. Stuff I've learned over the years. What else can I say? Hopefully this was fun and enjoyable and insightful and educational and all that good stuff. I just make these videos for fun as a music lover, and